Share the light. Air signs. Share to a group. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. This is Daniel and this is Engelgeist. I am doing the air sign readings for the month of May 2020. These are for the signs of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. These are for people that have either that as your sun sign. If your moon or rising is in an air sign, you might want to watch this or cross watch it. If you have heavily placed planets in air signs, you may want to watch this too. That's up to you. Or if you care about an air sign, like somebody that you really, love, like maybe a parent or a partner or child that's an air sign, you can look at this, and this is going to maybe give you a little insight into what to expect for them for the month of May 2020. Now, just so you guys understand too, this is a broad spectrum reading for a lot of different people. It's like, people with Gemini moon or Gemini rising, Gemini sun sign, and it's for a broad spectrum. So if things don't relate or don't make sense, doesn't mean that anything's wrong or that you're not like doing something right. It just means that maybe you're experiencing something different. You might have other planets placed in other signs that are taking precedence, or you might just be working on totally different things than what the greater collective of this sign might be working on. Okay, so don't be worried if like some of these cards don't resonate with you or don't make sense. If that's the case, just there's plenty of other readers out there that could probably give you insight into a situation that's specific to you. So I'm going to get started right now. If you would like, please hit like on the video or subscribe to my business page on Facebook or to my YouTube channel. This should be broadcasting out to both. If you want to follow me on Instagram, you can at Engelgeist333. Those of you that subscribe to me over on Patreon, thank you very much for your subscriptions. You can also subscribe over at Patreon. I do a daily forecast every day. That is for all signs, and it's a much broader spectrum reading, but that's available early. If you go over and do the subscription, you get it a day early via Patreon, if you like. So those are just different ways of supporting the channel if you like. And just sit back and relax. I am going to start with Gemini, then move into Libra, and then into Aquarius. Once the video is completed and fully uploaded to YouTube, then I will have timestamps placed in it. Unfortunately, those watching on Facebook won't have timestamps in the groups and stuff, because I can't go back and timestamp each and every one, because it's been shared across a bunch of different groups right now. I am live too. Hey, Christy Wilson. Hey, Molly Allstott. Hey, Brittany Cardinale. Hey, Stacy Tompkins. Hi, Ivana. Thank you for dropping by and saying hello. I am live. I do have the chat box up, but if I get inundated with chat messages, I will drop it down so that I can pay more attention to the reading than to the chat box, okay? So I've got it up now just to say hello to folks, but as I start to read, I'm probably not going to pay close attention to it, just to let you know. It's not that I'm ignoring anybody or not paying attention to them. I just need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So let's see what's going on with my air signs for 2020. We're looking at Gemini for May of 2020, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or heavily placed planets. Now this first card goes in the center of the way that I lay out the cards, and I call this the U card. This is sort of the card that tells me a bit about sort of where you're at most of the time during the month of May, where you're going to sort of be vibrating at. It gives me an idea of not only where you're sort of centered at, but also what you could potentially be creating for the future, okay? So this is the Five of Pentacles. All right, so this is like money changes right out of the gate. Pentacles doesn't necessarily always have to be about money, right? It can be about material things, things like jobs. It can be about relationships. It can be about even material like items like furniture or cars or anything that has to do with the material world is the Suit of Pentacles. When I look at this, five is always representational of change, sometimes hard change. To me, I don't feel like this is well, I feel like there's a little bit of a struggle for the Gemini. I feel like this Gemini here, if this is my Gemini, this woman here, let me show you the art a little bit closer. She looks like she's caught in a bit of a storm. Now, my Geminis, you guys are air signs and tend to be really strong thinkers, right? And I think that you guys are trying to hold on to what you have while we weather out this storm of this pandemic. And I think that it's not been probably easy on the Geminis because you guys are sort of thinking. This Five of Pentacles feels to me like you guys are going to have to sort of adjust to some changes in your material world. In your material world, that could be adjustments to finances. That could be a new job or a new way of working. Like maybe your job has changed to working from home, or maybe you've been let go of your job because your job is no longer um, what's the word I'm looking for? Is no longer perceived as viable anymore. And the reason why I say that is it feels like this woman here is holding on to this flower very tightly as this storm is brewing around her. Now, I don't want my Geminis to think that, oh shit, May is a shitstorm. It's not that. What I think is the way that she's standing and she's facing the past, I feel like we're trying to hold on to something that we've almost outgrown, is the sense that I get. And I feel that my Geminis tend to be such thinkers that you're overthinking it and you're not trusting enough, is the feeling that I get from this card. That it's okay to trust enough that something better will replace this, okay? So I just want to say to my Geminis, if you guys find yourself struggling throughout the month of May trying to keep things normal, quote unquote, my suggestion, and this is only a suggestion, be a little bit more open to the idea of change. Be a little bit more open to the idea of things shifting. Maybe your living situation, your relationship situation, your relationships to your friends. Let those things sort of open up is the feeling that I get. Things, to me, I look at her holding this flower and this flower being like blown into the past. To me, it feels like it's going to be different for my Geminis going forward into, say, the summer months. And you guys are going to start to feel that change or that shift happening in the month of May. You might be struggling against it a little bit. I feel like she is trying to hold on to things like to keep them the way that they are or the way that she's used to them being, but they're not going to be able to be held that way. That's this five. This five to me speaks to this idea of, sorry, it's got to change. The world is changing and you're going to have to allow yourself to change with it, okay? Now, the next card is the Foundation card. This card tells me a bit about sort of what is from the past, what is everything is built upon, right? It's the foundation of why everything is the way that it is going to be for you guys in May. It gives me a little insight into that. It's also the thing that sort of everything is built upon. So the memory of this card can kind of keep things in place, right? Or hold things in place. Now, this is the Knight of Wands. Wands is the element of fire, which is a nice complementary element to the air sign that is Gemini, right? But fire sort of also feeds off of air. And this being your foundation says to me that I feel like my Geminis had some big plans prior to pandemic. Like, to me, it feels like this was the plan, like, say, 3 months ago. We had it all planned out in our head. We were going to move forward. We were going to be, like, we were excited about something. There was some sort of new thing on the horizon, whatever that may be, right? That really excited us at a deeper level. And when the pandemic hit, or when things sort of stopped and changed, we lost sight of this part. And this inspiration that I feel like I get from this card, there's like a strength, there's a nobility, there's an inspiration. Knights generally bring messages with them, good tidings, security, that sort of thing. In the past, we felt very secure, we felt strong, and we felt like we were like I'm hearing onward ho as he's holding his staff, like he's ready to charge forward into the future and start creating this exciting um, uh, uh, dream in a way, right? Like we had these big plans for ourselves, and those plans have been put on hold. And I think that that's why, like, let me move this to the side. I think that's why the Geminis are struggling as in the center of May, is because the material world is changing right in front of them. And it's not that it's hard for you guys to understand. You guys are very smart, very intellectual, very able to adapt quickly. But it's like this, the excitement of this and the plan that you had put in place is part of what's maybe being changed or having to be altered or let go. And I get a feeling that my Geminis are just going to have a little bit of struggle with that, because this looked so beautiful to you guys maybe 2 or 3 or 4 months ago, right? This idea of, okay, in 3 months, this is where I'm going to be. And boom, it's like, no, we're not going to be there. We're going to be struggling trying to hold on to that dream. And I don't know. I have to look at the rest of the cards to see if this dream is still a possibility. I do like that there's a strength in this Knight card here in the as the foundation. So to me, and it's also spirit based. So there's a strength of spirit that is driving you forward through the month of May. So that is something that's very good. But this idea of where we were headed towards in the future has definitely altered in some way. It's altered or changed in some way that the Geminis, I feel like in May, you guys might be fighting a little bit or reluctant to let go of. Let's just say that. It feels more like a reluctance, like a struggle at times. It won't be all May, guys, but it will be parts of May. You'll be like, I don't want it to be this way, but it's going to have to change. You're going to have to sort of let go or be dragged, which is one of my favorite. Oh, hey, Andrew. Andrew's one of my Geminis. Good. I'm glad you're here watching this. So, uh, but I like that we have this Knight of Wands as the sort of driving force behind everything that you guys are dealing with. This is a very strong card, a very noble card, a very secure card. It just says to me that we might have to do some adjustments to get back onto whatever this plan was that we had going pre-pandemic. Now, this next card is your Spirit or Soul card. So I'm going to just kind of slide these guys over a little bit so you can see this. This is what's above you. Oh, I love this card. So this is the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is one of the pillars of the Tarot, right? The 4 pillar cards. And he usually represents like sort of institutions, higher knowledge. He's very, he's similar to the Emperor, but the Emperor is more like you need to impress the Emperor. The Hierophant is more like by the book rules, right? And when I'm looking at the Hierophant being in your guys' spirit space, I feel like there's 2 meanings to this for my Geminis. And of course there would be 2 meanings because you guys are Geminis, right? We've got the twins there, the duality, right? One meaning I feel like this Hierophant is, or what I'm hearing in my mind, is that you guys need to trust your judgment. I feel in this 5, there's like this sort of reluctance to trust what's going on, to trust that change that's happening around us materially. But what the Hierophant tells me is that you guys have the wits and the strength, right? Which with this Knight as your foundation, you have the wits and the strength to sort of adapt even in the momentary changes, right? As they happen, kind of like it's like a more of a like a pivot or a what's the word I want to, how to, like in the moment you guys are going to have more ease if you ease into this Hierophant energy of being knowledgeable and sort of grounded and just making your decisions on the fly versus trying to hold on to something that might be outdated or in the past that no longer is possible. Okay, now the other side of this is also the idea of don't get too stuck in, like, it's, to me, the Hierophant is all about sort of institutions, higher learning, tradition, that sort of a thing. And I feel like your spirit wants you to understand that you are smart, you are capable, you can pivot, but don't get stuck in those sort of strong-willed or strong-minded thoughts or patterns that you guys have. To me, this is like the split down the middle of this card is like, it feels like your spirit wants you to trust your knowledge base, but not hold so tight to it that you can't adapt it and change it. The Hierophant isn't necessarily about adaptation and change. He's about higher institutions and learning, you know, like sort of that steady, you know, this is how it is kind of thing. And I feel like this card is calling out to tell us from our spirit space. Our spirit is telling us we have the ability to sort of change our thinking, but also to trust our thinking as those changes take place, if that makes sense. The Hierophant is major arcana, so there's a big bit of power in this card, and there's a lot of knowledge in this card coming down from your spirit. So I want to say that your spirit is really trying to work with you in the month of May. Pay attention to it. Tap into that. Because, and the reason why I say this is twofold, again, Geminis and twos, we have the Hierophant up in the spirit space, right? And he's a very sort of like higher learning, sort of strong major arcana card. But we also have this Knight of Wands down here in the foundation. Wands being the element of fire and also the element of spirit. So amidst this earthly change that we might be fighting throughout the month of May, or not fighting, I don't want to say fighting, but like reluctant to let go of is kind of the feeling I get with this. Like you guys might struggle a little bit, like, no, wait, that's not how it was supposed to be. I had all of these plans. I had this is the way it was supposed to go. I want it to go back to normal. But there isn't really a normal. And that's part of this Hierophant energy too, is Hierophant has like certain set expectations, right? That's the like the institutionalized portion of Hierophant. We don't want to get too caught in that. We want to trust our knowledge base, but we also have to let go of some of that stuck in that single lane thinking, and open our mind up a little bit and learn a little bit more. It's only, to me, the feeling is that my Geminis are going to gain a much like more acute awareness from this behavior. It's going to be beneficial to you is what I'm saying. So now the next two cards are the outside influences. These cards tell me a bit about sort of what's influencing you either positively or negatively during the month of May. They're generally people or events, sometimes energies or belief systems that are having an effect on us. So the first one, beautiful, is the sun. Now to me, the sun gives life and energy to everything, okay? For this is a very positive influence. This is about, I mean, I look at here and I see people celebrating and dancing underneath the sun. I feel like my Geminis will have a surplus of energy. You guys should have a surplus of ideas, a positivity if you want to access it. Now, the one thing that makes me nervous, we have this knight from the past that was headed towards this sun, it looks like. But we have this person in the now fighting against the wind in this storm, facing back there trying to hold on to something from the past. And I feel like this sun is waiting here going like, hey, look at me. I'm here to energize you. I'm here to give you a better perspective. I'm here to give you exactly everything that you need. I can get you through this. It's almost the message that I'm hearing from this card. But you have to sort of turn your face towards me. You have to turn your belief within yourself and then turn towards me and allow this change to take place. Let go of whatever you were holding on to that is no longer maybe a possibility. And that doesn't mean that we give up on what this was. It just may have changed, right? So like, as an example, if this was a job or a career move or a relationship, we might have to give up on the sort of path that we thought we were going to take to get there, but a new path might be illuminated to us to something different or better suited for us, or the path might change in some way that we didn't see coming. And we're fighting it and going, no, well, this is the way I was supposed to go about doing it. We want to let go of that staunch sort of thinking and trust ourselves that we are smart enough and capable enough and strong enough to pivot and move with the energy of this sun. This energy of this sun card is a very beneficial energy. So it's a very beneficial outside influence that you guys can utilize to really propel yourself forward if you choose to in the month of May. Now, the other outside influence, is the devil. Wow! So, in this deck, the devil, you guys got some heavy cards, Geminis. I mean, you've got, like, check this out. You've got change in your center, and then you've got 3 major arcana surrounding you, and then a court card down below. And it's a spirit, it's a wands court card, which to me is the element of fire. So that's like one of the fastest moving sort of energies. And it's also the energy that utilizes air to burn, right? So and you guys are air signs, so this is an interesting uh, reading for you guys. I feel like May is going to be, it's going to be, the feeling that I get when I look at these cards is my Geminis by the end of May are going to be like, where the fuck did May go? Like, excuse me? That was like, what the hell just happened? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the fact that there's a lot of energy around you guys. There's a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of change happening in the center that you guys are going to be like just sort of trying to roll with as best you can. My suggestion, and this is a suggestion more than a read, is that I would get into that change, lean into it, lean towards it versus against it. The more you fight against it, the harder it's going to be. Now, this devil card on the outside here, it feels like, and I'm just going to slide this over, look at where her attention is towards the past. This looks like, to me, something's trying to get your attention. Something's trying to get you to be either lazy, slothy, boozy, druggy. The devil represents the things that we need to sort of face or deal with and remove from our space. It's trying to hold us back. It's trying, like, I feel like this cat is dancing around going, look at me over here, come fuck with me. Don't look at the sun. And to me, the sun is far more positive. These people over here are celebrating and enjoying and growing and expecting like a new dawn, so to speak. Where this devil's like, look at me, I got a dancing pussy, come, come over. And if you think I'm making that shit up, I'm just gonna show you, he does have a dancing pussy, okay? He's saying, look at me, I'll fix it for you. Don't make a deal with the devil this month, Gemini. And I'm not talking about the literal Gemini for any sort of Christian watchers that I may have. I'm talking about any vices that you have. Laziness, food, drugs, booze. And I'm not judging at all. I'm just saying that if there's anything that you guys use as a go-to to make yourself feel better when you're in the midst of the struggle of change, be aware of that, because that could hold you away from seeing the beneficial energy of this sun card, which could really energize you and push you guys forward in a very positive way. You have this beautiful Hierophant card sitting up in your soul space too, which says to me, there is strength, there is wisdom, there is knowledge within you, that if you're not too set in your ways, because this would also set you, like this Hierophant, you know, he's set in his ways and he's smart, but like if we go to the things that used to work for us pre-pandemic to get us out of ourselves, we're going to find that those things aren't working anymore. They're only just going to hold us up or like, I don't want to say circumvent, but like stunt our growth during this time. They're going to make this change or this shift a little bit more of a struggle, a little bit more longer, or we might be finding ourselves still in this change and shift in the month of June, right? And we don't want that, right? We want to find, I really believe that this driving force of this Knight of Wands is we want to get to that better, more inspired, honorable place that we were looking for prior to all of this craziness breaking out. All right, and that Hierophant also wants the same thing. I can feel it. Okay, there's stability in that Hierophant card too that is also coming down from your spirit. You guys need to trust that and acknowledge that and bring that in during the month of May and allow that to lead you, but don't allow it to get you too stuck in your ways or your thoughts and stuff. You've got two powerful energies working for your attention. The devil, I'm going to say this, is not a bad card. The devil just is going to show us exactly where we are weak. The devil is going to show us where we need to do work to improve upon ourselves if we find ourselves going down that road. Okay? The sun, though, is going to sort of, to me, energize us or infuse us with brilliance and growth and the ability to move forward at a much more rapid pace, if that makes sense, than the devil will. Now, this last card is what I call the outside, or not outside influences, the potential outcome for my Geminis. Now, this is not set in stone. This is like just where things may happen to go for the majority of you, barring that nothing major changes, okay? But it's not, like I said, it's not, you know, written in stone. You can use this card if it's a negative as a warning to make choices and changes right now to avoid this outcome. But if it's something positive, you can take heart in the fact that this will be, you know, where you're naturally heading by the month's end. So this is the Ten of Pentacles. I love this card. This is actually double the 5, right? So Ten of Pentacles is all about abundance. It's about that earthly abundance. It's about dealing with this change, or maybe struggling with this change in the beginning of the month, but utilizing the energy of the sun, the strength of the Hierophant, and the sort of the wisdom of what we had previously planned, and not allowing that to get in our way, and getting ourselves to this place of feeling abundant, and abundant enough that we're not only able to take care of ourselves, but by month's end, we're also actually able to take care of other people. That's what tens are. And tens are completions, right? They're completions of cycles. So to me, we might be completing whatever devil energy was here that haunted us a little bit in the month of May, if we find ourselves exploring some of our vices and getting fed up with them and changing them. By the time the month's out, we're energized with this sun energy, and we're able to not only reap the benefits of, you know, maybe our early month struggles with the change, but we're also able to sort of help others with our experiences, with our assets. Like, this to me would be material assets too. It doesn't necessarily have to be money. It can be time, it can be knowledge, it can be just friendship, right? We can give support to others by month's end, by the end of May. So to me, this feels like it's going to be a powerful month for Gemini, but it's going to be a beneficial month at the same time. I don't think that you guys are gonna, I think there might be a slight amount of struggle throughout the month, where you're deciding, do I keep this, do I let go of this? And for those of you that are really paying attention and not sliding into your vices, you will be able to do so. Those of you that do choose to slide into the old comfort of whatever used to work, you're going to find probably that it doesn't work as well anymore, and you're going to have to let it go. But when you do that, you're going to have learned something more about yourself, and that also leads you to this sort of abundance that we see in this Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so you'll be able to be an asset to those around you by the month's end. Not that you're not an asset throughout the entire month. I think you will be, especially with this Hierophant up here. But you have these really kind of powerful experiences that are going to be coming up for you. You know, this Devil card could be past. I'm just getting this flash right now. For some of you, this Devil card could be past relationships resurfacing. Like, ooh, shit, girl. Like, there might be an ex that shows up in the month of May where you're like, yeah, the sex was good, but we fought a lot. I'm sorry, I can't go there. Or you might fuck them one more time and then move on, you know? Like, I don't know. But what I'm saying is, it could be something like that too. It's like that old behavior that we might have to revisit one more time, just to really go like, no, yeah, that's not working. We're headed this way still. We're going towards the sun. So that is my Gemini reading for the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am now going to move into Libra. Please leave a like, a share, a comment, a subscribe. Please share this feed out right now while it is live. And I look forward to hearing about your guys' experiences in the month of May. Hey, Red Lake, how are you? Reality TV is yours, Andrew. Mine too. I spend way too much time watching reality TV. Hi, Julie Kildea, how are you? And sex. Okay, good, Andrew. That's good. That's nice to share. You're welcome for the Gemini reading, Julie. Now I'm going into Libra. So for my Libras for May of 2020, for Sun, Moon, Rising, or any heavily placed planets in Libra, can I please see what Libra needs to know for the month of May 2020? Hey, Amanda. Okay, let me see. Libra. What is up with my Librans? Oh, does it say April? I'll have to change it. Thank you for catching that, Andrew. I probably didn't change it. Fuck. It's supposed to be for May. Damn it. All right. So this is for the month of May. For my Libras, this first card is your center, where you're going to be centered at, or what you're going to be looking at. If you have heavily placed planets in Libra, you may want to watch this. Or if your moon is in Libra, you might want to cross-watch it. But this is for my Libras. So let's see where they're at. Oh, interesting. They have the Four of Swords. Somebody in the Earth signs had Four of Swords. I can't remember as their center. Who was that? Was it Capricorn? I did this like 2 or 3 days ago. I think it might have been the Capricorns. Anyways, my Libras may want to get with the Capricorns this month of May because you guys are going to be in a very similar sort of situation. To me, swords is the element of air, which is good. That's definitely a Libra home element. We like that vibe there. Fours are about stability or gaining stability. To me, when I look at this, there's a little bit of judgment going on. I felt the same thing with the Capricorn card. To me, it's sort of like looking at the world around you and taking cues and then sort of trying to stabilize yourself and your world, your immediate environment, while watching what's going on in the world around you. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting from this card, you know, with the pandemic and everything that's going on. That's sort of the vibe that I get from this card is these two sort of ladies lounging here. They look like they're kind of looking around like, oh wow, this is kind of chaotic. So let's sort of stabilize ourselves and our thoughts and get, you know, keep as calm as possible. And that's a very sort of Libra trait, is to try and stay as balanced as possible. So this is sort of where you guys are going to be centered at, right? There is this sort of idea of maybe looking to the past a little bit, Libra. There might be a little bit of sort of like reflecting back onto something that maybe was left behind, or this idea of something that maybe you had an idea that you were going to do that you might have to no longer be able to have. I'm sort of getting that. That's similar to the Gemini vibe. To me, Gemini felt like they were fighting it a little bit more. In this card, I don't feel that fight. I feel sort of this like release, like, okay, well, that's not going to happen kind of idea. So like if some of my Libras were thinking about dating somebody, but y'all are still in, you know, shelter in place, you're like, okay, well, he's gone, or whatever it is, or that job is gone, but you guys are okay with it. I don't feel this stress or worry about it. It's more practical to me. This feels very practical. Like you guys are looking at things from a very practical sort of logical standpoint, right? As you're working your way through the month of May. Now, your foundation card, ooh, is the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is the card that sort of opened the door for everything to be the way that it is today, right? And the Wheel of Fortune is always a slow-moving energy. It is a major arcana card, so it packs in a big punch, right? So this, to me, says there's big lessons for Libra that are probably coming if they haven't already. The Wheel of Fortune is about sort of where we put our thoughts and our intentions is sort of what we get in return. Okay? And when I look at this as your foundation, I feel like Libras, this explains why you've got this Four of Swords here. And it's important that you guys keep your thoughts clear, clean, and stable during the month of May, because the foundation of this Wheel of Fortune is saying, okay, I'm going to give you exactly what you focus on. I'm going to give you, it may come like, you know, a month or two behind May, but if you're, whatever you're focusing on now in May, be aware and be aware of how it's making you feel and what you're sort of imbuing it with, because down here, somewhere in the past, you set this up. You and your guide, your spirit guide sort of started this wheel in motion, and it's moving you towards whatever the goal was, right? Now, this pandemic has thrown everybody off, and it's maybe thrown my Libras off a little bit. But this Four of Swords says to me, you all are getting back into your element of air. You're getting back into your balanced thinking. You're getting back into that idea of stability. And as you're doing that, I believe that you're actually beginning to spin this wheel in a positive direction for yourself. So keep that in mind throughout the month of May. Try not to let like what's going on in the world drag you down, what other people are saying drag you down. Try and keep your awareness about you. Oh shit, I'm getting a call. I can't take it. So try and keep your awareness about you and stay as positive as you possibly can. So now the next card is your spirit or soul card. This is what's up above you. So this is the Seven of Swords. So again, we have the air sign, the air element, the element of swords up in your spirit space, which is a good sign. Sevens kind of also, to me, are like sort of about change. When I'm looking at this, it feels like your spirit wants you to protect yourself, if that makes sense. Those women are wrapped together. One moment, I need to send a message. So to me, when I'm looking at these women, it feels like they're wrapping themselves or protecting themselves. So I feel like with this Four of Swords here, which is all about stability, this Seven of Swords to me feels like it's about kind of keeping yourself protected at a spirit level. With your thoughts, your spirit is definitely working on trying to keep you um, uh, really secure. And the reason for that is this Wheel of Fortune as your foundation. Because if you start to go south, Libras, if you start to sort of get stuck in bad thoughts or negative thinking or defeatist thinking, you're going to screw up something that you had planned a while back that is supposed to come to pass that you want, and it's going to be big. Does that make sense? So if this is a relationship, this could be numerous things, right? But whatever it is, right now it's very key that with this four and this seven in your spirit space, it's about wrapping yourselves in your good thoughts, wrapping yourselves in your ability, wrapping yourselves in in your own element of air and the intellect, and keeping it as secure and tight as possible, if that makes sense. Because whatever this is, your soul wants it. Like it's this, whatever was put in here, maybe pre-pandemic, there was some sort of soul thing, like you were working with a spirit guide to start to create this. And it's still in creation, even in these months while we're in isolation. This wheel is still spinning very slowly, but we need to maintain our thoughts and our feelings around that so that we can get this to come through in the way that we want it, even amidst sort of the chaos that we're dealing with right now. Now, the next two cards are the outside influences. These cards determine sort of what's influencing us during the month of May. They can be either people, events, sometimes things more vague like belief systems or energies that are having an effect on you, either positively or negatively. We just need to be made aware of them. So we have the King of Wands. Why do I feel like this is somebody's dad telling them off? The King of Wands is the element of fire or spirit. The minute I flip this over, I feel like this is somebody judging my Libras. I don't know why. I feel like this is somebody's dad or authority figure. This could be a boss. It's definitely a male. It could be a fire sign, right? We're talking like Sag, Leo, or Aries. But this is somebody that's an authority in my Libra's life. Okay, and I feel like it could even be a boyfriend or a husband. If some of my Libras have husbands that are a little bit kind of bossy, but I feel like he's sort of judging my Libras that are over here. And I don't understand why, but I want you guys to be aware of him in the month of May and not take on too much of his authority. I think that what he knows is true and works for him. He's a powerful dude. He's a charismatic dude. I don't think he's out to get you. I don't get a bad vibe from him. I feel like he wants to help you, but I do feel like he judges you in some way, or he underestimates my Libra in some way. And what he doesn't know is that the way that you guys are handling this month of May with your thoughts and trying to remain sort of calm and protected is bringing home this Wheel of Fortune, right? This how do I want to say, like this massive manifestation that you're trying to bring in. But see, this King of Wands to me, he manifests differently. He's this element of fire. He's like, no, bitch, this is what you want to do. You want to do it like this. Da, 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 da. And it's like my Libras know, and your spirit knows, and you guys are doing it in a more slow, methodical, intellectual, like elemental way, are surrounding like maybe steadiness and stability, where this King of Wands is going, that's not how you do that. That's kind of the feeling I get. He might be somebody important to my Libras. Like, that's why I mean, like, he could be a father or a boss or a boyfriend. But don't take what he has to say in May personally. Stay on your own path. This is your Wheel of Fortune. This is your manifestation that you're trying to bring in. And even though it might be coming slower than normal or slower than he thinks it should, don't worry about it, because you guys are bringing it in. And when you bring it in, it's going to make it all the more valuable to you. Okay? Now, the next card is the next outside influence is the Eight of Wands. Okay, so we've got all of this Wands energy around you guys, okay? I want to say this. Remember when I was saying this Four of Swords, my Libras were leaving something in the past? I feel like this is a relationship that we're not over yet. Eights generally represent balance, finding balance, and balancing the energy of wands, right? But for some of my Libras out there that are watching, I feel like this is the idea of a relationship or a love that maybe got lost either during the pandemic or right before the pandemic, like maybe in this last year, from the beginning of this year forward you might have like lost a love. I don't know why I feel that from this card. That's not necessarily the meaning of this card, but it's sort of what I feel like is going on here. And I feel like my Libras might be trying to either manifest a new love through this Wheel of Fortune. And that's why you guys are protecting your thoughts and keeping yourself safe in the spirit space, like sort of healing and protecting with this Seven of Swords. Because as this wheel turns, we're creating something new that's better for us. It's interesting that you guys are surrounded by wands energy on either side. I want to say this: fire needs air to burn, and fire burns up the oxygen in the air, right? So there's a lot of, I don't think that these are negative influences. I think that this is sort of a past memory or a belief about sort of relationships. Generally, this is about the balancing of like sort of spiritual energy. And to me, I feel like this is the memory of a past relationship that has gone wrong. And for some of you, this is somebody that's judging you or telling you, oh no, that's not the way you do it, because you're taking it a more methodical, steadier pace, or you might be reluctant to jump into something new. For some of you, this could be a new suitor coming. Also, that's like sort of checking you out. But I think he's sort of stepped back, like he's not 100% sure he wants to get with that yet. That's my feeling. I don't know why I feel that way. So if you're not feeling outwardly judged, you might actually have like a stalker in the midst. Not a stalker, but like somebody admiring you from afar, but he's trying to figure you out. And I don't know that my Libras are aware of him, and I don't know that they're ready just yet for him. I don't want to say that you're not going to be ready. This Wheel of Fortune is preparing you. This Seven of Swords is preparing you. This Four of Swords is preparing you. Maybe in June or July for him to step forward. But my Libras here are focused on the memory and the processing of whatever this was with this Eight of Wands. Okay? This and finding the balance around this situation, this breakup, whatever this was. Even if this wasn't like a physical breakup, say this was like a loss of a job, whatever this sort of loss was that you guys had to let go of, you're still sort of kind of trying to understand it, I feel like, in the month of May. And you're trying to make clarity of it or stabilize your thoughts around it. And as you do that, you're churning that wheel towards something that's better suited for you. And when you turn that wheel, somebody's over here watching you do what you do in your Libra way. Okay? I hope that makes sense. So, hey Casey Ray, how are you? So, here is the potential outcomes for the month of May for my Libras. This is not set in stone. It's just sort of where things may end up. It's not necessarily, it could be, if it's something negative, we can use it as a warning to make choices and changes now to affect the outcome so that it doesn't come to pass. But if it's something positive, we can take heart in the fact that it's naturally, automatically going to, we're heading towards it naturally. All right? Oh my God. So you guys have the same outcome as my Geminis, which is the Ten of Pentacles. So to me, the Ten of Pentacles, I'm just going to say this, I just said this with Gemini, this is about like material abundance. This is about feeling secure in the world. This is about feeling like reaching a completion by the end of May, probably around whatever this relationship situation is, probably feeling a little bit more established in the manifestation of whatever this goal was that you wanted from the past that you've been working on trying to get. You're going to be a bit closer to that. I also think that you're going to be able to be more of an asset towards others, because tens not only represent completions, but they also represent the ability to be able to not only help ourselves, but to help others. And so when I look at that, it feels to me like you guys are going to be abundant or feel abundant by the end of May to be able to give or help others. Not necessarily financially. It can be, through, like I said to my Geminis, it can be through, you know, friendship, support, a listening ear, helping a friend move, all of these sort of things that I feel like this just feels like you guys have an abundance of maybe time, energy, love. Some of you, it might be money, and you're able to utilize it not only for your own benefit, but for the benefit of others. I like that both my Geminis and my Libras are ending on this Ten of Pentacles. It means to me that it feels like the end of May, you guys are both going to be feeling like things are, I don't want to say back to normal, but they are feeling fruitful again, or exciting again, pleasurable again, good again by the end of May. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on at the end of May, because this Ten of Pentacles is definitely saying that there's a overflow of material goodness happening for my Libras and my Geminis. All right, so I am going to now move on to Aquarius. Thank you for tuning in, you guys. And let's look at Aquarius really quick, my last air sign. Tomorrow I will be doing the water signs, and then the last signs will be fire. So let me see. Thank you for that. Give me Sun, Moon, and Rising for Aquarius for the May of 2020. What do they need to know? Those with heavily placed planets in Aquarius. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hey Black Tree, how are you? I'm actually doing, this is not personal readings. This is the May air sign Tarotscopes for the month of May for the air signs. I think it's listed as April, which I screwed that up, but whatever. Okay, so this is the center for my Aquarians. This card popped out. I don't know why, so we are going to go with it as your center card. It definitely wanted to be out of the deck by itself. So this is where my Aquarians are going to mostly be centered during the month of May. It gives us a little insight into where you're vibrating at and what you could potentially be creating. This is the Six of Wands. So this is about, to me, it looks like it's about relationships. I don't know why. I'm feeling this is about the bonding of relationships, the deepening of relationships, the connecting of relationships. There's going to be a concentration on yourselves and your relationships, either with family, romantic, or friends. To me, this Six of Wands feels like the idea of solidifying those relationships even deeper, or deciding whether or not those relationships are worth keeping. But this definitely speaks to me about the idea of, do I want this person around anymore? I feel very positive about this card, though, in the sense that I feel like the majority of my Aquarians are going to be appreciating those that are around them. And that this will be throughout the month of May, right? Some of you might be making separations or changing some of your relationships, but for the most part, the overall gist that I get from this is you guys are going to really be concentrating on those that feed your soul, those that feed your spirit, those that connect with you in ways that make you feel whole, happy, and complete. I feel like my Aquarians need this. You guys are social beings, right? Very social beings. And I feel like after this pandemic, after this isolation in place, it's time for you guys to really start to connect with those that you love, that inspire you at a deeper spiritual level. And that's what I feel like this card is trying to tell me, is that you guys are going to be focusing on those relationships much more so in the month of May, all the way throughout May, and how that fulfills you and makes you feel spiritually, or makes you turns you on, basically. But I don't mean like turns you on in a sexual manner. I mean like lights you up, excites you, right? Some of you might have to find that you might have to cut away a few relationships, but I feel like your focus in the month of May is going to be on those relationships that feed you, that give you hope, that give you, that just set your soul on fire in a way, okay? The next card is your foundation card. This card tells me a bit about sort of why things are the way that they are leading into this. It's from the past. So this is the Chariot. Okay. So this is about the ideas of getting somewhere and you were on your way. I feel like my Aquarians had a plan and they were on their way and moving rather quickly towards it. I don't feel like you guys are off plan though. This Six of Wands also still has that fiery energy to it and it feels like it's still moving towards that plan. But I feel like this has been put on pause, obviously. This being the foundation means that the minute, and this is what I feel like in my body, is the minute you guys are free again to get going, you're on it again. Like whatever it was that you guys were working towards, whatever it was that you guys were speeding your way towards, or the idea that you wanted, the thing that you wanted, you haven't lost sight of it. You've put it on like a pause, like I'm seeing a pause button. You put it on pause, and you're just kind of waiting. And while you're waiting, that's why you've got the Six of Wands going as your center, is you're sort of focusing on the things that you can, that turn you on spiritually or that keep you like sort of motivated, because once this shit's over, you're like back in this chariot is the feeling that I get, and you're flying forward in your life, heading towards that goal that you had. Like you're not giving up on that. Like you're like, not today, Satan. I am not letting a pandemic stop me. Now you might be still like trying to do the right thing and stay 6 feet away and do what you're doing, but my Aquarians, I feel like when I'm looking at these two cards, y'all have not lost your goals and you have not lost your sort of energy around them. Even if you might be feeling a little bit like slowed down right now, this being down in your foundation says to me that you're going to kick that right back into gear the minute you're allowed to or you feel that it's safe to. Now, the next card is your Spirit of Soul card. This tells me about where your Spirit of Soul is at. This is a beautiful card. This is the Magician. This is all about creation with the all 4 elements. You see how it has the cup, the pentacle, the sword, and the wand. The Magician is all about creativity and being able to sort of see it, master it, and make it real. And this being, ooh, bitch, this being in your soul space, my Aquarians, you guys have not given up the dream. I feel like you guys with this chariot down here as the foundation, it's like the minute we get free, like the minute we get sprung from jail, we are all about using our magic, channeling that creativity, channeling those ideas, getting back on that chariot and speeding towards that goal, whatever it was that maybe got put on pause. And I love that this Six of Wands here in the center is like sort of your energy right now, which is this focus on what do I love, who do I love, how like feeding the things that feed you spiritually. And that's what's kind of getting you through during this time in May while you're waiting. But you have this bubbling creative energy happening coming up from spirit, and you have this determination like sort of as your foundation with this chariot, that it feels like the mental picture I'm getting is when the doors open, you are going to come flying through and just be like, boom, like out the gate, like no joke. Now, the next 2 cards are the outside influences. These cards tell me a little bit about what's influencing you, either positively or negatively during the month of May. They will give me a little insight into, what you need to be aware of during the month of May. So we have the 3 of Cups. Beautiful card. This is an emotional card and the card of, the element of water. But with this is all about celebrations. And this ties into this sort of Six of Wands where I feel like this is about appreciating the relationships that feed your soul. This is about also sort of exploring and enjoying the relationships that around you that feed you emotionally, right? This is an opportunity. You might find yourself having opportunities to celebrate in the month of May with those that you love. Now, you might not be able to be physically with them, but you will be able to celebrate or find that appreciation for them. This is a very beneficial card. This is also sort of feeding this chariot and feeding this Magician, the strength of both of these cards, and keeping them in line. The other outside influence is the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords, 8s always represent balance to me, right? But this card, the art in it, there's always this person leaning over this soldier. I don't know how well you can see it if my camera's a little bit out of whack. But it's this guy trying to help somebody. And to me, when I think of Eight of Swords, it's about beneficial thoughts. This being an outside influence says to me, that there might be some opportunities where people might be able to assist you or help you, or you may be able to assist them and help them through your thoughts, through helping them to balance their thoughts. I feel like there's a positivity with my Aquarians in these three cards, coupled with the positivity of this Three of Cups, that allows you and enables you to be a positive force mentally for those around you that might need your help in kind of working their way through the month of May. So if you guys find yourself playing therapist, do it, because it's going to feed your soul. It's going to make you understand how strong you actually are, how empowered you are, how creative and magical you actually are. And people will be celebrating you, right? And your presence, because you will be making them sort of feel mentally more balanced, better, cared for, appreciated, loved, because this is your focus in appreciating and sort of putting your energy into those relationships that feed your spirit. Okay, now this last card is the outcome for my Aquarians. This is a potential outcome. It's not set in stone. If it is something negative, we can utilize it to make choices and changes to affect the outcome. But if it is something that's positive, we can take heart in the fact that we're naturally heading towards it. So let's see what it is. Beautiful. We have the Ace of Swords. Okay, so with my Aquarians, this is your first and well, we have a swords energy here as an outside influence, right? But this is your element. So this is you sort of helping others to balance their thoughts, because you're an Aquarian, you're a sword, right? You're the air, element of air. So you guys have these opportunities to help others out in the world, right? The influences that may come to you that need your assistance in helping to balance their mind around whatever they may be dealing with. But by month's end, you guys are going to be feeling empowered. You're going to be feeling like sort of in your element, inspired thought, new beginnings, new thought, all of that sort of stuff is in this Ace of Swords. Look at this beautiful angel. She is like twisting her way straight off into the future, ready for a new sort of beginning. And I feel like she channels the speed and strength and depth that we see in this Magician and this Chariot, right? She is like the embodiment of the Magician in the spirit space and the speed of the Chariot down below as the foundation. We get this beautiful blend of this Ace of Swords energy, pointing our sword, our intellect, our element into the future with power, with peace, with joy, with excitement. I'm not sure, but you guys, my air signs, you're all ending on really positive signs on the end of May, really positive cards, two ending on the Ten of Pentacles and one ending on the Ace of Swords. It makes me wonder if something's going to shift for all of us in May. I'm going to have to look more closely at the finished cards in the earth signs, because I don't remember what their outcomes were, because I did it a few days ago. But I'm wondering if there's going to be some sort of turning point for us at the end of May with this pandemic, because these three cards feel really, really positive for my earth signs. Like really positive. Like I feel like doors opening up positive, or perspectives changing positive. So I don't know if the end of May might be some sort of release for us, but I definitely feel that in these last three readings, at least for the air signs. So if you have bumpy Mays, my Aquarians don't feel bumpy to me, but my Geminis and my Libras felt a little bit bumpy. My Libras felt stable, but it felt like you guys had to like sort of slowly like kind of process stuff in a stable way, where Geminis felt a little bit like there was a little bit of struggle bus energy. But that's okay, that's kind of Gemini in general. What I'm saying is that you guys are all going to end out the month feeling much more whole, much more complete. I'm a little jealous of the Aquarians, though, because you all are really going to end out well, in my opinion. That is your air sign forecast for the month of May. Sorry I mislabeled it and called it April, but this is for the month of May 2020. Please tune in for the other signs if you know what your signs and planets are in. Please give the video a like. Please share it out. Please like my business page. Follow me on Instagram at Engelgeist333. Please go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly, greatly appreciate it, because getting people to subscribe over there is such a hard task, and I love that platform. I will put my contact information in the where is it? Where's my link? Sorry, I should have had this ready. I will put my contact link information in the chat box right now. You guys can also message me at the business page if you want a private reading. Those are much more descriptive and personalized to you. These are broad spectrum readings for a bunch of people. So I know that they're not super specific about, you know, what's exactly going on in each and every one of your lives, but they're just to give you like guideposts as to maybe what to expect and what to hope for. All right. So please have a great May, you guys. Hang in there, and I will see you guys all soon. Check out my other videos on my YouTube channel, and um, hit the like button and the notification bell, and you'll be notified when I go live again. I do card pulls and charmings and all that sort of stuff, and you guys can come and join in the fun of that. All right, you guys. Have a great day and have a great May. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the water signs. All right. Bye-bye. My dog is snoring. Sorry, guys.